do know that there is no direct connection between being wealthy and being happy. I have experienced it all. I have experienced like survival mode. I've experienced living a very nice life, you know. Yeah, I was born in the Soviet Union, many of you know. I've lived in US, I've lived in Germany. So I can compare stuff, you know. I can kind of like, yeah, see what's going on the material level and how material level is influencing people. And when it comes to really very wealthy people, it's interesting that in many cases, not always, but in quite some cases, wealth, like really huge wealth, brings a lot of difficulties for people. You know, so it's not necessarily that life becomes easier. In a way, it becomes more complicated. You know, I'm not trying to say that money is a bad thing, no, but it's a powerful thing. And it multiplies what people have. So if people have like really not nice motivations and attitudes, money is going to amplify that. Yeah, and this is going to be a trouble for people and also for them as well, you know. So, and money is also such a power that not everybody is going to handle it in a graceful way. You know, money, power can really corrupt people. The people change, even the people that didn't expect this to happen, that seem to be quite decent and modest people, and then money can change people, you know, because some people are just not strong enough to get the power and be able to use it for the benefit of oneself and other people. For me, money is more a source of freedom, and this is like the value for me, you know, number one value. And also money is nice that you can, you know, treat somebody in a nice way. You could go for a nice vacation with a person you love, you know, this kind of things. Like my mom, she loves traveling, and if one can support her in this, it's nice, you know. The sun is going down. I think we are going to have a nice sunset, but let's see. So far, it looks like this. With me, it was like in the Soviet Union, we had sometimes years, especially late 80s, and when it was such a scarcity of all basic products. Like I remember especially like butter was a luxury, you know. And for me, like having bread and butter was like a dream, you know, in a way that it was hard to get butter for some period of time, and they would give you, you know, they would allow you to buy a small amount of butter per person, so that it will be over very soon. Yeah. So I remember as a child they sent me to a summer camp for 1 month or something, and they would give you butter every morning, like a square piece that you eat with a bread. And I thought, wow, what a paradise. I was genuinely happy to have this bread and this butter every day. I thought, what conditions, you know, this is luxury. But I was happy. The summer camp was nice. I was at the seaside, and also every day butter in the morning with the bread, with a piece of bread. So nice. You know, sometimes really small things can make you happy to the level you don't imagine. Yeah? And sometimes you can have a lot of things and you're still miserable, you know. It's really, it has to do with your mind, you know? It has to do with your mindset and in general understanding how the mind functions. And it functions in the way that when you don't have something, you really want to get something, and you think it should make you happy, and then you have your happiness for a while, like me with this butter. But if I have butter every day, I don't consider butter the source of true happiness anymore. I get used to having butter every day, like now. Still now, I love still now having a piece of bread and butter in the morning. I usually would take some dark bread and, you know, and butter on top. I like that, you know. I like the luxury of having bread and butter every day. I know it's a luxury. And I'm sure many of you watching never thought that this could be like a nice thing. Because you understand it when you don't have it, you know. And I also remember like going to the shop and standing in a line for a few hours to get some sugar. We usually would buy a few kilos of sugar so that you have stock. And I remember paying for 5 kilos and they gave me like 3.5, and my mom was like, "How much did you buy?" I said 5, and she would weigh it, and it was 3.5, you know. So you stand for hours as a child in a line, and they still like cheat you, you know. And I thought, yeah, crazy. As a child, it hurts, you know, because you were like, you know, getting the sugar, the kilos of sugar for your family. I guess I was like maybe 11 years, 12 years old at the time. So things like this, interesting. And then Soviet Union was over in 91, and then crazy 90s started because we had like Soviet Union was over, but then it was free market, and it meant for us that suddenly the prices went up like crazy. And this is something we never experienced and never knew how to handle, you know. And so we could not buy anything because it was extremely expensive. So before we couldn't buy it because there was nothing. Now we had everything, but we could not buy it, you know? And then people started to try making business, which was not allowed in the Soviet Union. We didn't have the market economy. It was a planned economy. And it was crazy times. There were shootings every day in the city, you know, because people were like borrowing money from each other and then not paying back, and those were killed. And it was no banking system, you know. It was extremely crazy. And in 94, in the middle of this craziness and all the experience of being in the survival mode in the Soviet Union, and then in the beginning of the 90s, in 94 I went to the United States. That was quite a contrast, to say the least. And United States in the 90s, it was like, it was really nice. I mean, it's still nice now, I guess, in the States, but I hear different things. You know better. I haven't been there for quite a while, so you tell me. I heard things got worse than in the 90s, but the 90s were still like, you could have a very simple job, you could work as a cashier in the supermarket, and you could still drive a car and like get a house and like have a very nice, decent life, having just one very simple job without going to college, you know. So this was really nice times in the West in general. And I remember all this luxury, and seeing, like, first time in my life, seeing big malls with lots of stuff. We didn't have an idea. We didn't have even a word, a mall, because we'd never had malls. We didn't have words for yogurt because we didn't have yogurt. I remember, like, yogurt? What is yogurt? We had sour cream, we had milk, but no yogurt. There was so many new things for me. Also internet. Internet already came in the States, but like in Russia it came like a couple of years afterwards. So for me it was extremely, like, everything was new, everything was so luxurious and like a different planet. And everything is enough of everything. And I thought, wow. And it was such a contrast, And I thought, wow, this is like a paradise. Or what? And then, I could spend more and more time with people and also getting to know people better and better. And at some point, what for me was a discovery is that people in the States also suffer. They also suffer. And I thought, why? Why do they suffer? And actually people who don't have enough of basic stuff, they think this way. And I was thinking this way. They think that if you get on this some level of wealth or like, middle class in the West or something, they think this is like, you'll be happy automatically. This is how I was thinking, and how also I guess now some people think. And for me it was like a discovery that actually people suffer, and on top, not less. They don't suffer less. Looks like they even suffer more. Because they have depressions, they have whatever addictions, they feel deeply and they get hurt. And for me at the time it was like, what? But later on I realized an interesting thing, that when you stop worrying about the basic needs, like struggling on the outer level, all this habit of being unsatisfied and looking for things turns inwardly. And you start being unsatisfied with your relationships, with your connections. You start being lonely, you start being depressed. You get much more going on the inner level, which is usually not the case when you have to just survive on the basic level, physical level, because there you just don't have space in mind for even thinking about depression. You're thinking about a piece of butter and this makes you happy, that's it. And when you like look inwardly, you start to develop a lot of problems, or also because of all this abundance, sometimes people like also start eating a lot of crazy food and getting fat and so on, like the food that I couldn't have access to because we had only basic stuff. But it was funny enough, my diet was much more healthy than the US diet. They had everything, and including the bad things, unhealthy things. And for us, we just had the basic things, which was natural food. You have kartoffel, like potatoes, I mean. Kartoffel is a German. Kartoffel. Also in Russian, you say kartoffel. You have potatoes, you have like... Actually, the sunset is not so nice, but maybe it will change. Maybe I do like this. I don't know if you can see me. Let's have some light in here. So yes, funny enough, in this abundance and luxury that I found myself in suddenly, it was like I saw that people struggle on the inner level, yeah, that they also sometimes drink every day, and you think like, wow, they have money to drink every day. Coming from the Soviet Union, you're like, really? And yeah, when you have access to things, you can also drink every day, you know. And in the Soviet Union, we would drink, but this was like celebration. You know, we would save stuff. We would save meat for the celebration, for some birthday or some event. Also alcohol. It was saved for months. Sometimes we would have meat in the freezer for months to, you know, to keep it for the special day. Yeah. Anyway, my point is that, interestingly enough, when people get wealth, be it like normal, basic, like financial satisfaction, middle class level, so to say, or if you go much higher, like, you know, like very top, on all those levels, you see people suffering. You see people suffering. And you understand that it's really not about money, you know. It's not about wealth. Even though it's nice to have basic needs met. It's nice to live in a nice place. It's nice to have a butter every day. Alcohol not. Actually, I don't drink anymore at all. I didn't really have a problem, but I quit some years ago. I quit when I was around 40. Now I'm 48. 48, yeah. So, like, yeah. I feel so pure. Yeah, alcohol after 40 is not doing you any good. Before that, maybe you can handle it and it's like, it's okay. But it's also like destroying you. It's a poison. It's a poison. Especially for your brain, you know, it gets intoxicated immediately. You can feel it like, Anyway, so my experience, this like extreme contrast of living in the survival mode and not even having like bread and butter for breakfast, into like luxury of the States in the 90s. And I met some really rich people there, like people who had really huge houses and everything, like they could afford everything, you know. And then you talk to people and you realize that they have problems. Even though it's like a family and two parents and children, and then you talk to children and they say, well, I struggle because my parents struggle. And why do they struggle? Well, they have depression and they drink every day and they don't understand or connect well. And you realize, okay, funny, but it's really not about wealth. Happiness is not connected, not related, not even related. And you see happy people everywhere. I saw people happy in the Soviet Union, you know. And I also had, like, mostly my childhood was actually nice because I couldn't compare it to, like, I thought it's normal to, you know, not to have stuff in the shops and not to have big shops and not to have, you know, things and not to travel. I didn't know as a child that there's a better version of the world, you know. So yeah. You know, in general, I had some moments, yeah, and I was really, but okay, maybe some other video. So I had some struggles, but it was really not so much like, sometimes it was hard, I remember, because we also couldn't get clothes, you know. It's not only that we couldn't get food in the needed amount or variety, you know. It's never that I like You could always buy rice or buckwheat, or if there was nothing, it was never like there was no food at all. You could always buy something, yeah, and stuff yourself. And luckily we also had fish usually. It was living on the coast and stuff, you get fish. It was nice. Yeah, it's just I'm saying that the clothes was difficult sometimes because you could not get the right size. Especially with shoes, it can be a disaster. This I remember. This actually was a suffering because I could not find the right shoes size. And sometimes you buy shoes which are a little bit small for you. Sometimes you buy shoes which are a little big for you. But you have to wear something. So yeah. And I have like if you had like a shoe number like 38, then you could almost always get it. But if you have 39 or 40 or 37 or 36, you know, so you could only buy mostly you could buy 38, but other sizes it was a struggle. So yeah, there was some suffering related to not having things, but mostly I was a child. I had my family, I had school and like playing outside, reading books, normal analog childhood, you know, having friends, climbing trees and stuff like that. So yeah, I was sometimes quite happy actually. Though there were some things about the world which I really couldn't understand. I couldn't understand what is the meaning of I had questions as a child. I also couldn't understand why I'm so small and feel like I'm a grown-up. This was also tough. But I guess it's not related to being in the Soviet Union. It's just my own psychology, you know. I would suggest, if you think about money, like, think more about freedom it gives and about experiences it gives. Because freedom is nice, financial freedom is nice. Having nice experiences is also nice. And this is precious. Yeah? Freedom is precious, and experiences with nice people, or maybe alone is also okay. Like my mom, she loves traveling alone. She doesn't matter. She doesn't mind not having a companion. She's okay. She loves it. You know? I have, sometimes I show her on this channel. In her 70s, she's still traveling, and quite impressive. You know? So yes, what do you think? I mean, money is necessary, but it's not the answer to how to become happy, you know? So the answer is somewhere else. It's in a different place. And maybe this would be a topic for another video. And if you want to join this community of people looking for freedom, who want to build freedom in life, on all levels, not only financial, then consider joining. I would love to see you in another video. All the best. Be happy. Be free. Be real.